Hello, everyone. My name is Louis Scicli, and I want to welcome you to the show. Our show will cover local news, local events, and politics. Please look for new shows every week on our website and Facebook page. We want to thank everyone for your ongoing support, and we hope you enjoy the show. Welcome, everyone. I'm in with Ann Parker today, and again, we're trying to pump out these podcasts as much as we possibly can, and she's got some information that she's going to talk to us about, as well as a trip that she had made, and tell us a little bit about that as well. So good afternoon, Ann.
Well, yeah, it's afternoon instead of morning. Yes, good afternoon, Louis. Thanks for having me again.
No worries, no worries. We're normally here early in the morning, but because of our schedules now, we're doing them a little later than normal. So, But yeah, definitely. I know a lot about what you went on your trip to do, but tell everyone what that was about, because I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah, okay. You want me to dive into that?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So Wednesday, through my candidacy for Campbell County School Board, for anybody who's just tuning in, that's how Louis and I met. He was running for delegate, and I was running for Campbell County School Board, and we were both speaking to the Brookville Timberlake volunteer firemen one evening. That's how we met during our campaign.
I remember that.
And here we are, right?
That's right.
And so through that process, I've met some amazing people, amazing groups, and Teresa Pregnall, who is the director of Concerned Women for America, that I had never heard of before, was actually initiated here in our area, was at the Make Virginia Red Again rally, that my first speaking engagement in June, where I literally fell flat on my face after my speech.
You literally did.
Literally did, and busted my face, literally.
What happened? Did you just...
I don't know. It was really hot. I was drinking
say.
water all day. I get really nervous. I'm not nervous here because there's nobody here. Yeah. Just me.
And we've done enough of these where we don't care no more.
But even when I'm speaking at the school board or somewhere, when I'm teaching a class of 30 or something, not nervous at all. Up in front of people with a mic, it's almost like I black out.
Oh, no.
And I'm on autopilot. And then when I'm done, it's like all of a sudden all the blood rushes to my head. So seriously, I saw the pavement coming.
Oh my gosh, that's
so I didn't pass out because I saw it. But I couldn't stop myself either. So
it could have been the heat too. I mean, a lot of it may have been nerves, but truly. I bet a lot of it was
right
the heat.
Directly in the sun where we were set up. Yeah. So, but no one else passed out. So it's old lady. So I was going to throw that in there too. Like we decided we needed to talk about what we do for a living.
Yeah.
I am the old lady of real estate. I've been doing it for 32 years. That's how I introduce myself. So I met her, learned more about Concerned Women for America. They are really a prayer-based, policy changing nonprofit group of women who love their men. I love how they always say that. We spoke to some Capitol Police, and one of the other organizers who was there, I was a tag along, but she even said, we love our law enforcement and we love real men. We're Concerned Women for America, but we love our men.
That's awesome.
And so it was great. But they organized a bus trip up to the Supreme Court yesterday to show support for the Mississippi case, Dobbs, and I don't remember Dobbs versus what. I remember, the main name was Dobbs, where they actually were changing the viability standards for abortions to a 15-week period. And before, it was either 22 or 23. And of course, the ProChoice folks were very upset about changing that because, when things are this impactful on our whole community, and it's such a 50-50 type issue that when something happens in a certain state in the federal court, then it can spread like wildfire for the better or for the worse.
That's right.
So they were very concerned, and so it came in front of the Supreme Court, and they were actually making oral arguments yesterday. So I went up in support of that. A bit specifically, my initial sign up was to support Teresa and the Concerned Women of America. And I wasn't as familiar with the case. And as I was mentioning to you on the phone earlier today, and I did post on my Facebook page yesterday afternoon, right before we left, right before the bus brought us home, I was pro-choice.
Yeah.
The majority of my life. And so a little bit of history, folks, and I'll actually get a little emotional. I was telling my hairdresser got my hair done today. Going for the silver because I'm definitely turning silver. But
it looks nice.
Thank you. I was born. I'm adopted. I was born in a wayward home for mothers in Washington, D.C. And I've been pro-choice my whole life because and the primary reason was I wanted to promote adoption. Why is it so demonized for someone, regardless of their circumstance, to admit that they cannot or, aren't emotionally, mentally, whatever, financially, whatever the situation is? Why are they demonized if they make that choice? It just has always upset me. And I've always said if I ever didn't have to work, I would be a pro-adoption advocate, and that's what I would do. So maybe I'm working that direction with all of this public speaking that I've been doing lately. But so that was my primary intent, was pro-adoption. Well, then all the digging that I've been doing regarding governments, medical inconsistencies, media, corruption, things like that have led me to the good versus evil. And I have learned a lot about the foundation of and the core principles of Planned Parenthood, and they are not what we've all been led to believe. The opposite of what we were led to believe. Yeah. So I was very upset about that. Without going into too much detail, it is not for the mother's benefit. It is for the evil of ending a life. Okay, that's the most non-upsetting way I can say it. Yeah, just horrible.
I know. So. I know. I mean, I hear different sides, both sides of their beliefs.
I've been there, both sides.
Yeah, and I did see a girl come on. She came on the news yesterday from Liberty that was there, and they interviewed her a little bit, and she basically said that how many people want a cure for cancer. That how did she word it? She basically said that all these children that they abort. How do we know that one of those children wouldn't grow up to cure cancer?
Absolutely.
Or do great things or do stuff that we that they don't have a chance to do anymore?
No way to do it.
I'm trying to word it correctly where it's not real bad, but
that's the perfect thing is that person did not have the opportunity to have a life and to see what they could contribute to society.
That's right. And it makes you think, because there are so many abortions. What was the number you had told me that
65 million since Rowe is what Senator told me.
And my belief is out of 65 million, there's a lot of good in there somewhere. And I mean, even if it's, I don't know. I don't want to go too deep into it. But we don't know. I mean, maybe cancer could have been cured, and all kinds of different things could have been differently.
Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes.
Me, you. I mean, the whole gamut. And so the thing that became really glaringly obvious to me during my research, and literally I converted to strong pro-life probably less than a week ago. Yeah. I'm being completely honest. Yeah. I was really on the fence. I was really going that direction, but I wasn't 100%, because then we talked, and my hairdresser actually pointed this out to me, because I said, and I put this in my post, a woman who's been victimized. Yeah. I felt that pro-adoption, and I almost changed it in my post to day after pill or 15 days, and then we spoke.
Yeah,
you changed my mind.
I'm definitely pro-life.
Well, you changed my mind with what you said that the Liberty student said. We don't know who we prevented from entering our world.
That's right.
We don't know that. And so anyway, I literally
changed your mind, really?
Yes, that I told my secretary that you telling me about the Liberty student
because that hit home when she said
because I was like morning after, but that would preclude that person from living.
That's right.
Just as much. And
when she said that, when that girl was a young girl in Liberty, when she said that, I literally got chills.
Yeah.
And I looked and I said, you know what? I'm definitely pro-life. And that just reiterates what I feel in my heart, that when she said, everybody's complaining, but, everyone wants to find a cure for cancer, but how do we know that one of these children didn't have the cure for cancer? Right. But we'll never know now.
Or was Nikola Tesla and would have given us free energy, which we have, and the government's been hiding from us. There's a little red pill and a little conspiracy theory there for you.
Yeah, you never know.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And
I've always been pro-life, by the way. So
yeah, and
I was extreme at one time, so pro-life that I would say absolutely nobody can have an abortion. But there are medical things. I get it. The doctors will say there are medical things involved. Da 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 da.
Yep, absolutely.
And I'm kind of a little bit easier with that type of situation.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
as we talked about, and I get crazy a little bit with some of the stuff I say on here, which I don't care. My phone calls have slowed down. It's my podcast. But my phone calls have slowed down a little bit because people are going to realize now that I'm going to say what I really feel.
Yeah.
And
that's what we're here for.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. But I don't even know where I was going with that now. I had something to say.
Well, I'll jump in to our conversation this morning, and it'll pop back in there again. And I'm going to equate this to the transgender situation that's going on as far as statistics are concerned, okay? So we're going out of our way.
I just thought of it,
at the school level. Okay, cool. Well, I'll wrap this up quick.
No. That's okay.
It's a fraction of 1% of the student body that is gender confused. That's not even the percentage of people who actually feel like they are transgender. It's lower than that. But we're going through and changing policies for 100% of the students. That's opposite of reality. And that was also brought to my attention while I was at the rally. I learned so much being there. You guys have to go to these things.
You gotta go.
I learned things from the other side that solidified my new view. I learned things from this side that solidified my view. And things I wouldn't have considered. You've got to have an open mind, people. Just don't let people tell you what to think or what to do. I'm just so tired of that now.
So many people have done that for so many years. They think it's normal, but it's not normal to do that.
And you can change your mind.
Yes.
I'm 55 years old. There is no way at 20 or 25 I had enough intelligence, for me anyway, speaking just for me, life experience.
Life experience is the main
and
thing, yes.
Information for me to have come to the same decision that I have come to now. Okay. If I go back at 25, I would still be pro-choice because I wouldn't have known about the background of Planned Parenthood. And I would not have known the purposes and the organ harvesting and the, some horrible things. It'll make me emotional again. And I wouldn't have known those things because they were so far from the public eye at that point. So, we have to also be willing to change our position, to change our mind, to change teams. And it's actually really exciting to see all of these Democrats go Republican. So I don't want to go away from that. What was your thought that you were making?
Well, my thought was pretty much to say what we had spoke about, being responsible.
Sexually responsible, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah,
that's
because you want to be pro-choice, okay? Fine.
There was a choice that you had before you got pregnant.
Absolutely. That's
multiple
the choice
choices.
You got. The choice you have is to be smart, be mature, do the right thing, plan.
Yeah. If you're mature, so even kids though, I know. So that's the tough one. But they have multiple choices too.
Absolutely,
Children can walk in an elementary school nurse's office in most schools. I don't know about our local ones. I'll find out. But most schools and get over the counter prophylactic, not oral pills, but you know what I mean. A certain contraception that the male can use, right?
But the thing is, being responsible. I was young at one time.
Me too.
I was always responsible. I'm a germophobic for one reason. That's the other reason. And I didn't want to, I want to make, but I was responsible as a kid.
Yeah. I can say honestly, I was not responsible. I actually was, I thought I was going to have to become a nun, guys. I graduated high school before any of those opportunities even presented themselves to me. But
there's so much resources out there now.
I was irresponsible as an adult at different times in my life. And I was telling you too, I've been through pretty much every gamut of it between being adopted, between having a miscarriage early on in my life and learning what that process was. And it was far from not painful. It was extremely painful. And I was only like 12 weeks, and it was an emergency situation. I went through the emergency room. It wasn't a voluntary thing or at a clinic or anything like that. And it didn't ruin my life. Again, it was medical.
Yeah.
But I've also had children and children's best friends and girlfriends or boyfriends sit on my couch and have these discussions. So A lot of times too, I was pro-choice because we all know children that were born into bad situations, or to parents that are not capable or willing to provide proper care.
But
and
see,
that was one of my arguments. But then I know where you're going.
Yeah.
Look at all the people who want to adopt.
Absolutely.
I have so many
Absolutely.
friends who
Yes.
waited years
I know
and
a
had
lot
to
of
go
people.
to other countries,
Yep.
pay absorb.
Huge
I can't
amounts
even
of
think of
money.
the word. A
Yeah.
lot amount of money.
A lot
Yeah.
amount of money.
My parents had borrowed money to get me
See?
and my
That's what I'm
brother
saying.
back in the
It's-
60s.
And there's a waiting list. There's waiting and waiting. People
Mm-hmm.
are waiting. They want to take on, the children and
Yep.
do what they can do. And I'm always going to be.
Yep. So that's where my
that's where-
pro-choice
yeah.
is. So guys, we were supposed to hear the oral arguments out on the steps of the Supreme Court, and they started them on speakers, and then it was stopped. And I was trying to load it on my phone. There's a live stream, just like pretty much everything else in life, right? And I couldn't get it to load. We ran into Bob Good out there, and I found out Marjorie Taylor Greene was there, and I never found her. I was so disappointed because, man, I would love to just say, hey, oh my God, I think you're awesome. But couldn't find her. It was a big crowd. Oh, by the way, 23 buses came from Liberty.
That's what I was going to ask you. How many came?
23
just from
buses
Liberty?
of students
Whoa.
from Liberty University attended the
huge.
rally yesterday. Yeah.
That is huge.
Very impressed.
Yeah.
Very impressed. It was, honestly, all ages on both
Oh, yeah.
sides. I was really
Oh, yeah.
surprised.
Yeah.
I would say the pro-life folks outnumbered the pro-choice folks. I would say, without exaggerating, 7-1.
No kidding. Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
And which was also fabulous.
Yeah.
And their arguments were waning, So I wanted to listen because I wanted to hear. We went up there to hear it.
Yeah.
And support them from the outside, show them our public support. So I listened to it on the way home on the bus. I highly recommend it. We'll probably post this tomorrow, so I have time to send you the description, okay?
Yeah.
To drop the link to it. I want you to listen to it whenever you get a chance.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you guys, I was very disappointed at the beginning. The gentleman who was representing the pro-life argument really didn't have a lot to argue about. I was expecting to come in. I know I always picture this like guns blazing.
That's right.
This is
Yeah.
why, this is why, this is why, this
Yeah.
is why.
Well, some of them strategy though is to start it off a little soft, and then they bring in the
Gentle.
big guns.
Yeah, he
And if
never
that's-
really brought in a big gun.
Oh,
and
he
this
didn't?
and I'll tell you when you listen, the reason is because it really is the biggest gun is based in religion.
Oh, gotcha.
So
Okay.
that excludes anyone who's non-religious. So it kind of takes the venom out
that's right.
of their primary weapon, in my opinion, my humble opinion. So he did point out reasons. They did ask him questions about precedent and things like that. And I was very impressed. I'm serious, you guys have got to listen to this.
Yeah.
Then when the pro-choice speaker spoke, I was worried. I'm like, oh, it's done. Dead on arrival. She knows her stuff, man.
Yeah.
She was
prepared.
They asked her about legal principles I couldn't even pronounce. And she knew all about them. She had 15 cases to bring up to their attention and why they made their decisions based on that, whatever. And I was very impressed with some of the judges who asked very poignant questions. And I know I mentioned this one to you earlier. And this really also kind of helped solidify me for my post to say I'm strong pro-life now. I was still evolving even yesterday, and I evolved again this morning.
Yeah.
When we spoke, and after my secretary and I spoke, my hairdresser, I got to go back to her story real quick too. So it was Clarence Thomas who asked the question of the pro-choice attorney that she was basically arguing that it should not be the viability period or when the child can live outside or the cutoff date for a legal abortion should not be 15 weeks. It should be a longer period. I can't remember. She said 22 or 23 weeks. And he asked her this question. He said that in one certain case, a mom was found guilty of, it was like negligent harm to a child, irreparable harm, or whatever the words were, to her unborn child when she used cocaine later in her pregnancy. And he asked her, should that same mom have been found guilty if she had been proven to use cocaine earlier in her pregnancy? and caused irreparable harm or damage to her unborn child. And the attorney could not answer because if she answered, she's admitting that it's a child, no matter what stage
That's right.
of gestation the child is in. And that just drove it home for me too.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, wow. I mean, so the different perspectives, and I can promise you from her tone, she had never thought of that either.
No.
And because no one had ever proposed it to her in such a manner. And then, Kavanaugh asked what, and a couple of the other folks kept asking her, which principle in the Constitution supports your argument that abortion should be legal or continue to be legal, and viability and all that good stuff. Viability apparently came in like after Roe versus Wade. Like that wasn't even a discussion previously. So in the courts anyway. And she kept saying liberty. So they kept trying to nail her down, and they even used that word, I just want to, put the screws down or get it nailed down exactly what you mean by liberty for the mother, her whole focus, I really felt like the more questions they asked, the more rope she took and wrapped around and kept wrapping around like a cord, right? Isn't that a horrible way to think of it? But that's what it just came to my mind. But, and it shined a brighter light for me on the fact that she was only focusing on the mother's rights. And I know I mentioned to you when we spoke earlier today, not just the mother's rights, but how inconvenient it would be and the burden of being a mother, and that she could have already had a bunch of kids. My brother's also adopted, and he came from a family with a lot of children, and the parents acknowledged they couldn't afford another child and put my brother up for adoption. Sad, but at least he wasn't raised in that home where he was unwanted. Right? We don't want that. So we know that we're opening up a can of worms if we go fully back to pro-life. Okay. And a lot of people that I spoke to yesterday or just were walking by, overheard them talking. They said the churches better get ready.
Yeah.
But
the inconvenience thing that you're speaking about.
I mean, how dare they? So they're standing there.
What did I tell you?
Inconvenience and the responsibilities.
Yeah.
You said it's the word responsibility.
Responsibility. Take the responsibility.
Consequences to our actions.
Just like we have 3 puppies or 3 dogs.
Yeah.
Don't get them. If you don't want to be responsible and have to worry about taking a vacation, finding a place to watch them.
Your fish. I think about your fish.
Fish is the same thing. You got to be there to feed them.
You'll call me on the weekend and I've got to go in and feed the fish.
And you know what? I'm not happy about feeding the fish, but guess what? I took the responsibility on.
Yes.
I'm a grown man that said, I'm going to get these fish and take care of them. And guess what I do? I do my job. I take care of my fish just like the pups. Same thing. If you don't want the responsibility, don't have the children. It's your problem because it drives me crazy.
And it shouldn't be looked at as a problem.
No, not when I say problem. I'm sorry,
I know
that was
what
the
you
wrong
mean.
word.
I mean, but that's how they framed it.
That's right. Yeah, it's
They're
not a problem because
framing it
kids, honestly.
My right. So she's talking on behalf of me without my permission. And she's up
I'm glad
there
you caught
saying,
that on the problem thing because kids are not a problem.
Right, for
Parents
sure.
are the problem.
Yes, absolutely.
I'll say that.
Absolutely. And yes, people make mistakes, but we have to pay for them. Right? We have to apologize for them.
Deal with
we've
them.
got to
take
on the responsibility for that mistake.
That's right.
And so, I mean, just so many things. So Kavanaugh pointed out that there is no protection clause or any provisional language in the Constitution for abortion. And I don't want to use, I know I won't be able to use judge words, right? Because I don't know all judges' words. But he basically said, I interpret it as, why was this even ruled on in the Supreme Court to begin with when there's no provision in the Constitution? We're here to rule on constitutional matters.
That's right, yeah.
On cases. That's what we're here for. That's basically what he was inferring, or that's how I interpreted what he said. And he kept saying the word, so if there's no provision or instructions in the Constitution, then this court should remain neutral. And he said that a couple of times, the word neutral.
Yeah, gotcha.
So it was just awesome. You guys got to listen. And of course, form your own opinions. Obviously, a couple weeks ago, I was pro-choice.
Yeah.
So I have nothing against the folks that are pro-choice. I think that if they were, calmed down enough, because there wasn't anyone calm enough to speak to at the rally, in my opinion, again, some folks were willing to still go over and try and have conversations, pleasant conversations.
Kind of like our election, the people at the polls.
Yeah, exactly. Read the body language.
Yes, you read that body language quick.
Yeah.
And you stay away.
Then it was all me.
Yeah.
And when this attorney, pro-choice attorney, was asked all these questions, she kept focusing on what if the mom lost her job or a relationship broke up or, really?
That is,
I'm just
that's
sitting there
thinking the same thing. Really?
So it just kept shining a light
God.
on. She is fighting for what she says is women's rights. What she is fighting for, what pro-choice is really fighting for, is pro-woman who messed up's rights.
Responsibility rights.
We are irresponsible with our sexuality.
Yeah.
In most cases, so that's going to pull me back to my I always say my secretary. I love my secretary Sharon. I hope she's feeling better. My hairdresser Heather today said, "Of course, the first thing you think of is these poor women who have been victimized. That's what the first thought that you think of, right? And we're all human. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. And these men need to be strung up by their toenails and whipped with willow branches or whatever." Publicly nude, the whole thing, right? So, and have a peanut gallery. I'm being serious.
I could go further than that.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I know.
I'd be beeping everything.
Seriously, all right. So, with that being said, Heather had a great point. That is thank goodness, it's a small percentage of our population.
Yes.
So again, that's where I pulled it into the transgender it is a small percentage of our population. And that may need to be just like the transgender or my son on the autism spectrum or any other special needs, special circumstance be handled individually. So we shouldn't be changing 100% of the laws and the rules for everyone in our country. And I'll tell you where we've talked about the responsibility and no consequences to our actions with crime, with school, with work, with finances, and with our bodies and sexuality, right? All of this we've seen it all. It's all just getting grotesque.
Yeah.
And people are not being punished or having to own up to their mistakes or responsibilities anywhere. And I just lost my train of thought too. The responsibility part was the consequences to their actions and will make you pause. The whole reason for a consequence is for you to pause before you make that decision.
True. Yeah.
For your own safety in almost every case. If we had that pause, if I had more, that's where I was going. The woman who is speaking on behalf of pro-choice said 1 in 4 women have an abortion.
That's high.
That is too many.
Whoa.
That means it's like going to church and repenting and then going out Sunday night and sinning.
1 in 4?
But seriously, 1 in 4. She said it over and over. So that again kept shining that light on.
Man.
Okay, these women are basically saying, I want to be able to go out and do whatever I want and not have to take a pill or
be responsible.
Put in anything else or use a prophylactic.
Yeah.
And if something happens, I want to be able to call the clinic and set up an appointment. That's literally what the bright light was that she was shining on that situation. 1 in 4. So that was her on her argument side is you can't take that right away from 1 in 4 women. See what I'm saying?
My God.
But for me, it shined a light on really. Do we all need to just start dressing like hoochie mamas? Is that what's going on in our? If that is an accurate,
that's
fact,
high. That's really, really high.
Oh my gosh! And
I'm shocked at that number.
And she
I
used
would have never
it in
guessed
Supreme Court, so I'm confident that she's correct. Now the thing is that's an average. Some women have had more than one.
I would
you
say
need to
probably
remember that
1 in 100 is what I was thinking, not 1 in 4.
But remember, we got to spread it out. So if one person's had 5,
oh my gosh,
right, that makes up for 6 people. So, oh my gosh, and she used that in her argument. So anyway, I was very, very encouraged by how the Supreme Court was questioning her. It was very obvious who is way left, radical left, from the way the judges were framing questions or using the mic to preach their opinion of it without preaching their opinion of it, supposedly. But I think what this is all about is why you and I are here. Because they kept asking her, a lot of the judges asked her, if we uphold this, basically, the 15-week period, or we refuse, I guess, say that this isn't a Supreme Court issue is another option, apparently, at some level. I'm not familiar with all the tiers here. That it would become the state's decisions. And they asked her over and over, what would be the detriment if we put this power back in the states? And that's why we're here. That's why I'm on the school board. That's why you ran for delegate, and you're going to be more involved and maybe run again for something or that or whatever in the future. You're going to be involved in our leadership process. I'm not going to call it politics because that's not what it is. We need leaders to make sure that everything is as fair and honest as possible. Like my husband being a referee, no one should have any unfair advantage over anyone else. And there are going to be specific instances, but it should be states' rights. And they said, well, what's the downfall? And she said, well, then some would go to ban, abortions altogether. And some would have like a 6-week cutoff, 12, 15, all these different things. And they said, well, wouldn't that be voted on by the people in that state?
Yep.
And I mean, she was almost speechless.
Yep.
So I was thinking, wow. Yeah. Now she fought hard. She still fought hard, but that's what this is all about, folks. This is what all of this negativity going on in the political world being revealed to us is to point out that we do not need big federal government.
No.
They have overreached. They've overreached on our medical freedoms, on our parental choice, on our, look at what they're doing to our economy did anybody say it was okay to just decide to close a pipeline? Did we have any? I mean, this just the things that they're doing without we the people.
Yeah, most definitely. We the people don't have a say, so it seems like.
No. Seriously. And to give the states their rights back.
Yeah.
And then within that state, for us to have localities have freedoms as well. In some cases that trump those laws at the state or the federal.
And another
just
thing,
depending on what they are.
Another thing is, if you don't like what your state does, guess what? How many other states are there?
Yeah, we've got our eyes on a couple of trailers down in Florida, man. I'm telling you straight up. If Youngkin had one, and I think I've said this.
I would have slept in my car.
Yeah, I think I said this on the podcast a few times. I told people who said they weren't going to vote, oh man, as a candidate, that's the last thing you want to tell a candidate.
That's like slapping right in the face.
Oh
I'm
man,
not voting. I don't believe in it.
I had that.
Might as well slap me.
Yeah, I had that mama fire. Excuse me.
I heard it too, though. I heard it from a bunch of people that said that, and I'd just flare up, man, when I heard that. I mean, you're the problem.
Yeah. So,
and they're the first ones to complain about everything,
absolutely.
but they won't vote. But they're going to complain
or show up or participate.
Yes, that's another thing.
So yeah, for sure. But so I'm I really strongly encourage. I know we spent the whole half hour on this, but this is a really important issue. This is important. This
is a segment that needs to be by itself and the whole thing.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I agree too. And emotional again.
Yeah. No, this is definitely very, very important. And that's why I don't mind taking the time. And again, we'll do another one with another segment, but this needed to be said and heard. And I'm looking forward to that link. Yeah.
I wouldn't be here if my mother had chosen differently. And even in 66, she did have the option.
And now look, you're on the school board. You got voted in on the school board.
Yep.
You're doing great things for this community. I have you on the podcast for those reasons because I believe in you too as well. So guess what?
Thank you.
That whole, my thoughts on it.
I appreciate it. You know what? I had a parent from the city schools call and ask for my help today.
See?
I'm like, wow. And she thanked me for the conversation. Literally, I felt kindred spirit with this young lady, and we're going to get together next week.
Yep.
I could cure cancer next.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Waiting.
Let's do it.
So
we hope that you guys, anybody who's willing to have an open mind, please check it out. Even if you are pro-life already, it was very informative. I learned so much, you guys.
Yeah.
And join us at some events. We'll make sure that we talk about them in advance and give people opportunities to sign up. And we really appreciate everybody who's listening, and share this with anybody you think would benefit from hearing it.
And then get that link, click on it, watch what Ann sends us, because we're going to put that on there most definitely. So.
Yeah, it's audio, so you can even listen to it driving.
Absolutely.
There's nothing visual on this one.
Gotcha.
And then, we'll get together again because we have a school board meeting coming up a week from Monday. We've got stuff to talk about, like the Omicron variant. I'll just throw in real quickly that viruses, when they mutate, you can do your research. They mutate in a more passive manner. There's nothing in history that I've been told by my cellular, molecular, and structural biologist son who works at Cornell, right? And I'm not bragging on that. I'm just giving him
that's something to brag about, though, actually.
Well, it is, but the resource that I'm not just reading some stranger's information. He has told me before when we've talked about the flu and the flu vaccine, even though he still strongly believes in them because he's on that side of the science world, that they aren't more aggressive. The viruses mutate usually more passively. They're just trying to survive. We've fought them against them. Our immune system is, and they're just help me kind of thing. So Omicron variant, just real quickly, is less deadly. The lady who discovered it, which I also say, how did you discover it, right? So these people tested positive for COVID and they had different symptoms and they made up a name. That's how it works. Okay, there isn't a test for the Omicron variant because it didn't exist. So there's no vaccine for it either because it didn't exist.
We're going to hit on some more of that too.
November 24th.
What's tomorrow? Friday?
Tomorrow's Friday, so we'll get together next week.
Well, when's the meeting? Monday?
A week from Monday,
so
we've got time. Yeah,
okay,
because I do want to talk about some school board stuff.
And I'd like to do a little bit more about what you're discussing now, because people need to know that too.
And we got Ghislaine Maxwell. We've got CEOs stepping down. We have lawsuits being filed for election fraud in multiple states. We've got a lot to cover.
So definitely the next podcast. We'll tune into this one. Obviously, you'll know to tune in the next one as well. So.
Yeah, please. Looking forward to it.
Yes,
and still, if anybody has any suggestions of something you'd like us to cover, please let us know.
Yeah. In the description at the bottom, I'll have my name and phone number. Ann's got hers on there, contact information, emails, and all that stuff.
Yep.
I do want to talk about the treasure hunt real quick.
Yes.
We launched the treasure hunt.
I saw a quick clue before I left.
We put a clue out on our treasure hunt, Lynchburg Treasure Hunt group map. There's a map on there, and there's a comment on there.
It said something like, it's not as it seems.
Okay. Everyone look at that map. Really study the map, and I'm going to start putting some other clues that are going to relate to things on the map and narrow it down to where I hid this certificate. And we're giving away a 5-ounce silver bar. I was going to say gold, but it's not a gold bar. It's a silver bar, but still, it's a 5-ounce bar.
I was thinking about talking to you about investing in gold and silver.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Silver's where it's at right now. Silver. Everyone out there, silver's where it's at right now. Invest in it because right now you
Doesn't
can get...
that mean you should buy gold because nobody's buying it?
Well, gold's still expensive though.
Oh,
That's the thing. Unless you got lots and lots of money, buying gold is kind of tough. But silver, everybody can afford.
You buy anything for $20?
Very, very little.
So what is just real quick? What would be the minimum, and do you sell it?
Gold or silver? I don't have any gold or silver that I sell. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Most of the stuff we get in is going to be gold. It's going to be jewelry and stuff, and we sell it, and then we'll send stuff to the refinery.
Okay. Cool.
But back to the treasure hunt, I want to say real fast. Be looking on our Facebook page for clues on the Lynchburg Treasure Hunt group. We're not going to give out clues based on your questions this time. I'm going to actually post the clues during the week, maybe 1 or 2 times a week, maybe more, on the treasure hunt page. And that map that's on there, print that map out. Or if you need a copy, come by my pawn shop at the Timberlake Pawn Shop. Come by there. I'll have a printed version of it for you. It's probably going to print better than what you get off the internet. So come by and get a copy because you're going to need that. And it's going to narrow it down and put you in the right direction where this certificate's hidden. So
okay. Do we have a prize yet? Oh, you just told me.
5-ounce silver bar. Yeah.
That's
we thought we were going to switch it up a little bit. Normally we give out rings all the time. I said, you know what? Let's give out something that someone may say, hey, this is a great gift for my son or my brother.
What's the cash value?
Yeah. I don't even know what silver is
approximately.
Probably a couple $100, I would think, at least.
Okay.
I mean, minimal. I don't know yet what silver is at today.
That means I have to win it because I can't afford to come by it.
But the cool thing is because silver's low price right now, hold on to it. If you hold on to it, they're saying silver's going to shoot through the roof. And then you got something that's worth way more than what a ring would have been worth.
Yep. I have an empty safety deposit box.
Yeah. Gotcha.
I got to find some stuff to put in it.
You got it. All right, everybody. You got anything else to hit on real quick?
No, I appreciate it. And I really appreciate our conversation earlier, like I said. And please, everybody have an open mind. Enjoy your day, evening. Love each other.
Yes.
And please do something nice for somebody today.
Absolutely. And we'll see you at the next podcast. Everyone, thanks for listening in. And please do share this to everybody that you know because we're trying to build it as many people, get the word out there as much as possible. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Bye.